How's it going, everybody? Welcome back. So I got first place at the Duelist Advanced Sneak Peek with Centur-Ion. I went 4-0. Matchups were round 1, I played against Genesis Fiendsmith. Round 2, I played against Dinomorphia. Round 3, I played against Eldritch Horus. And round 4, I played against White Forest. It was White Forest something, I believe it was White Forest Fiendsmith Ryzeal or Tsurugi, it was something. It was a mashup of a bunch of decks. And the only person I dropped a game against was against the White Forest player. So I threw everyone else except for, in round 4, the White Forest player. And the deck did really well. Now, before we continue with the profile, I also went to a regional and got my cheeks clapped. You guys might have seen that I was talking about it in a couple of past videos or on Twitter or wherever. I went 2-3 drop, X3 drop, and part of the reason is because I played poorly against one player that was on a 5-engine pile deck. And the other reason is I got sacked 2 of my matches with Impulse, and so against a Malice player, I got sacked with Impulse, Nib, Droll. Nib and Droll don't really matter against this deck, but when you pair them with Impulse, and then in game 2 I also got Sales Band on stand-up, I was like, yep, that's how the cookie crumbles. And then I played against an Orchest player who also sacked me with Impulse and Crossout. I went second, he hit me with Crossout when I tried to Fua, and then he impulsed me on my turn, and then I passed, tried to do my board on his turn, he impulsed me again, and that was pretty much game 1. Then game 2, I started my turn, he impulsed me, and then he hit me with Droll Nib. I was like, awesome, passed. He had the Gearsu, he normaled the Gearsu. I tried to bring my stuff out of back row to Synchro Summon, and he impulsed me again, so I was like, love it here. Yep, that card's fucking broken. So that's how the regional went, got my cheeks clapped, but it was okay because most of the time it was just me getting sacked. Which happens. Can't be upset about it. So, with that out of the way, we're gonna go ahead and do the profile now. So, I'm running 40 in main, and for my monsters, I am running 1 Centur-Ion Gargoyle, 3 Centur-Ion Primera, 3 Centur-Ion Trudea, and 1 Centur-Ion Atri. These are standard for the monster lineup. You don't really need more than this. Some people might argue that they want to run Imith and True Awakening, which are really good, and I found myself really enjoying those cards when I played them. But I wanted to see the power hand traps like Fua, Droll, Nib more often, because with Imith and True Awakening you have to run the list at 42, and I just did not want to lower consistency with 2 more bricks in the deck. For hand traps I'm running 3 Nibiru, the triad of Bestials, so 1 Magnemite, 1 Druis, 1 Baldrake, 3 Bulos, 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Droll, and that's it for the monster lineup for hand traps. I have found myself thinking about running Ghost Spell, maybe cutting an Ash, maybe cutting an Imperm, running 2 Ghost Spell, and it would be fine, because Ash and Imperm not very impactful this format, but I decided against it, and I mean it worked out, so. For the spells I'm running 3 Emblem of Oath, 3 Stand-Up Centur-Ion, 1 Centur-Ion Bonds, as well as 1 Wake Up Centur-Ion. The Centur-Ion Bonds was something I wasn't running before, because in testing I already know all the lines without Bonds, and Bonds really is a card that helps you if you're new to the deck. Because if you open Gargoyle or Atri, you can just search for Bonds and then place them from hand without having to worry about messing the combo up. But I came back to Bonds because there are just so many instances where your going to grab it off of Primera on your opponent's turn so that you have that follow-up for your next turn in case they end up breaking your board. And I just found myself really gravitating towards it because it is just such a good card. Now, I'm also running another card which a lot of people may not be running right now, specifically in Centur-Ion, and that is Super Poly. This card is very interesting in the deck because, so since I am not running the 𝐒𝐮𝐩𝐻𝐢𝐴n package with the branded regain, because of cards like Droll and cards like Nib, those cards run into the issue of, oh, I get Drolled, so I can no longer 𝐒𝐮𝐻𝐢𝐴n combo. I 𝐒𝐮𝐻𝐢𝐴n comboed, so now I'm getting nibbed earlier. Super Poly does not run into that, and it also gives you a better going second play, because you can use this to take the entire Malice board, or Trify over Rudum, or you can go into Garura Mud Dragon with any other deck in the format. Like Mitsurugi. Mitsurugi, sometimes you can also take their whole board and go into Trify over Rudum. And this allows you to not only dodge hand traps by super polying your board plus your opponent's board, or using it to break your opponent's board, but the stuff that you end on with it, like Mud Dragon, can insulate you against hand traps, or the cards like Garura you can use to go into Chaos Angel to further break your opponent's board. And honestly, in most of the games that I drew this, actually I think in every single game I drew this at the sneak peek, I won. Like Dynamorphia, I 2-0'd them because I went Super Poly, Lightning Storm, or Lightning Storm Super Poly, took their whole board, made Garura, went into Chaos Angel, banished something. Against Malice, you just make Trify over Rudum, and then they're like, okay, I have one interaction now plus hand traps, and you're like, I can play through the hand traps, and probably through the one interaction. White Forest, you take their board, make like, it kind of depends on their board, but it was a very solid card overall. One Terraforming as well as one Triple Tactics Talent. I was running Called By and Crossout, but a lot of hand traps don't really affect you in this deck. You don't care about Fua, you don't care about Droll, you don't care about Nibiru, because you have lines through every single one of those cards, as long as you're playing smart. The only cards that really hurt you are Ash on Primera normal summon when you don't have an extender, or Imperm on Trudea when you don't have an extender. Those are really the only cards that kind of screw you when you're trying to do your combo. And for the final cards in main, I'm running 3 Imperm as well as 1 Centur-Ion Feelings. And that's it for the main. The main has treated me very well. Very, very well. And I don't think I would be changing it for the foreseeable future until probably a format change, which is coming up with a new Yummy and Dragon Tail stuff. Or the extra deck. I am running two Cosmic Blazar Dragon. I couldn't see the first part of the name there for a second. This card is phenomenal. You just make double Blazar and hold the negate until your opponent tries to out the board or they hit like a choke point in their combo. 2 𝐒𝐮𝐩𝐩𝐸𝐿. This card's fine. I thought about cutting it down to 1 because you don't really need 2. You really only need the like Auxilla and the 𝐒𝐮𝐩𝐸𝐿, because most of the time you're never making your end board with Auxilla and 𝐒𝐮𝐸𝐿 unless your hand was kind of weird. Like you had to do Oath combo, but you couldn't like push through and remove the body from Oath before you Synchro Summon into your second Synchro. 1 Crimson Dragon. This is just Crimson Dragon. I used to run Rumble, but it's kind of just a brick, and in this format you really aren't able to play mid-range as mid-range. You have to play mid-range as like the most toxic way you possibly can by running the minimal amount of bricks and the maximum amount of ways to interact with your opponent. It's a combo format, so 1 Snake Eye Vengeance Dragon. It's kind of hard to see the name, I apologize. Snake Eye Vengeance Dragon. This card is crazy against a couple of matchups. You can just completely win. Against Eldritch, you put their Eldritch on back row when they go effect to summon. You're like, and then they're like, okay, sick. Yep, that. Yep. Against White Forest, you can put the 𝐒𝐤𝐷𝐸𝐚 fusions on back row to completely remove their ability to recur. Specifically the one that negates. Against Blue Eyes, you put Blue Eyes on their back row, they no longer have the Blue Eyes to be able to do their combos with. Until they get the second one, if they run the second one. It's a very, very good card. And a lot of the times, during the day, I actually had the Kashtira Genesis player removing Vengeance from my extra deck, because he knew that it was one of the best outs to his deck in my extra deck. He didn't even rip the Crimson. And I was like, Vengeance is a pretty smart move, to be honest. One Bystial Dispatter. Didn't make it. Like, never made it. Mostly because you have to draw the Bystial to be able to make it, so I've been trying to think of other Synchro 10s to put in, but the times you do open the Bystial to make the Dissipator, it comes up especially against decks like Malice that utilize their Banished a lot. One Primera Primus. You don't really need more than one, to be honest, because with the inclusion of Bonds, you can just place the Primera from Grave and summon the Primera from back row to search Bonds, and then now you no longer need to make another Primus. And honestly, most of the time I just didn't even really make Primus. I would just go straight into Auxilla to protect against Fuolas and stuff, because sometimes the opponent will wait until you declare a level for your Centur-Ion monster before they Fuo you. One Chaos Angel, this card, really good, pretty self-explanatory. And then for the Spice, obviously, the Super Poly targets, which are Trifeoverrootum, Guerrera, and Mud Dragon of the Swamp. Before I was running Trifeoverrootum, I was running the Guard Dragon All Marduk fusion, because you could take 3 links, but this one's just a little more consistent and hits more matchups, I think. But outside of that, I'm running another spicy card that I really enjoyed, which is Snake Eyes Doomed Dragon. So if you don't know what this card does, you have 2 Centurions on back row. You can go send both to grave to summon this, and it helps you play through getting debarriered. Because on summon you go effect, place a monster in your spell and trap zone, and because it's a level 8, you can actually use this to Synchro Summon into a 12. So you can put this on the board, and then your opponent's turn you can go, oh, you specialed, I'm going to Synchro Summon using a level 4 tuner in this. So it was pretty solid, and there was a game where I got debarriered the week before, and I made this and it ended up winning me the match, so it was great. Really enjoying it. And then for the final card in extra, we have SP Little Knight. Pretty self-explanatory. Then for my side deck, I'm running 3 Artifact Lancia, pretty self-explanatory. Against Malice, they have to open, I believe, exclusively the backup to be able to play through this, and even then they end on a pretty mid-board. And then for the funny card, I run 3 Prohibition. So the way that I use Prohibition in this deck, because Auxilla protects your face-up spell traps, you can use Prohibition to either declare a hand trap that would really fuck you, depending on your hand, or you can use it to declare a part of your opponent's engine to prevent them from using that piece of their engine. So, for example, you can go Prohibition, call Whitebinder, or Prohibition, call Ext, or Prohibition, call Detonator, Prohibition, call Habakiri, and now your opponent can no longer use or summon that card while this is on the field. And because Auxilla protects it, Lightning Storm's not going to do anything against it, so they now have to open like a 2 card combo. I mean, and you probably got Blazar set up, so I actually ended up using this against a Blue Eyes player at the regional, and I went call Blue Eyes White Dragon, and he genuinely just could not do anything. The most he could do was put the Primite on the board, but when he tried to Drill Beam, I had the Blazar to negate it. So I was like, yep, thumbs up. And then of course, the deck lockdown, it's just too good not to run. I think that if you can play deck lockdown and if you're playing a deck, you should be playing deck lockdown in your side deck right now. Because it prevents your opponent from searching, or it prevents both of you from searching, and prevents both of you from summoning from the deck. Now, usually you play this at the end of your turn, because once you already have your board, and you play deck lockdown, now your opponent can't search, they can't summon from their deck on top of the board that you have. And most of the times it's GG's. Like, if you have full combo and you put deck lockdown up, your opponent's probably going to look at it like, oh yeah, we're going next game. And then I play 2 Lightning Storm as well as 3 Evenly Matched. I was playing against Dynamorphia at the sneak peek. I opened Lightning Storm evenly, and Super Poly. Lightning Storm evenly, Super Poly, and I had Trudea in hand and I drew a discard for turn. So you can imagine how that match went. And then for the final card, I run 1 Anti-Spell Fragrance, because it is really good just turning off spells. Who would have known? Who would have guessed? So, yeah, deck had a lot of success during the sneak peek, and I didn't play against a whole lot of meta, which is fine. I mean, it was kind of weird because usually I play against meta at locals, especially during a sneak peek. Like the last sneak peek I played Centur-Ion with, I went 3-1. My only loss was against Malice, because I bricked game 1 and then game 2 I couldn't break the board, so I was like, oh yep, okay, that makes sense. But yeah. And this is the playmat I got. This is the promo card or whatever I got, and the Field Center I got, so pretty cool stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile, and I have a couple of combo videos for the deck on my channel if you want to go look at them. They're pretty nice, highly recommend. Outside of that, I plan on releasing some more deck profiles soon, and yeah, that's about it. Check out my streams on Twitch and YouTube every Sunday, Monday, Thursday, and I'll catch you guys later. Have a good one. Thanks for watching.